Today, we're diving deep into generative AI. It's everywhere, isn't it? Buzzing across pretty much every industry. So whether you're prepping for a big meeting or just trying to get up to speed in your field, or maybe you're just curious, think of this as your shortcut, your way to get genuinely well-informed fast. Our mission for you today really is to cut through all the noise around generative AI. We want to, decode the jargon, separate what's real from what's just hype, and give you a clear, actionable sense of what these tools are all about.
That's exactly right. By the end of this, you should really grasp what these tools are, what they can do for you professionally, and maybe just as importantly, what they can't do. And crucially, how you can start to effectively collaborate with them. It's about gaining that knowledge quickly, but, properly.
Yeah.
Finding those aha moments.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Generative AI, it often feels a bit like magic, doesn't it? What's actually going on under the hood?
Yeah, it can seem that way. But it's definitely not magic. It's actually an incredibly sophisticated form of pattern recognition. Think of it less like a brain and more like a super fast archivist. Someone who's read, almost everything. Imagine instantly reading every book, seeing every image, hearing every sound. You'd start seeing these incredibly complex patterns, right? In language, visuals, music. That's basically what generative AI does, but on a scale that's just, impossible for a human.
Right. So when something like ChatGPT spits out a really detailed email or DALL-E creates this amazing image, it's not understanding email writing or art like we do.
Exactly. It's not about understanding or comprehension in the human sense. These systems, especially the advanced ones, they use what's called transformer architectures. This lets them process just vast amounts of data and then predict the most statistically likely next word or pixel or sound, all based on the patterns learned during training. They're making incredibly informed guesses, you could say, but it's not insight, it's prediction.
Okay. And this predictive nature, that must be why AI sometimes gets things so confidently wrong. I remember hearing about an AI saying only giraffes can't jump, forgetting elephants entirely.
Yes, that leads us right to this really critical concept in AI hallucinations. When we say an AI hallucinates, we mean it generates information that sounds plausible, maybe even confident, but it's just factually wrong or nonsensical. It's not trying to lie to you. It's just predicting what sounds right based on its training data patterns. It doesn't have an internal fact checker or a connection to, ground truth. There was that great quote from an AI researcher. They said, today's AI is like an incredibly well-read parrot with amnesia. Great vocabulary, terrible memory for actual facts.
That parrot analogy, that really clarifies it. Prediction versus knowing. Okay. So to make this practical, what are the main types of generative AI tools people are likely to actually use, professionally speaking?
Good question. The field's moving incredibly fast, but right now you'll mostly encounter a few main categories. First, text generators. Things like ChatGPT, Claude, Google Bard. These are great for drafting emails, summarizing long docs, brainstorming, writing copy.
Right, the ones most people have probably played with.
Exactly. Then you have image creators, DALL-E, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. You give them text prompts, they create visuals, the concept art, mock-ups, illustrations.
Very useful for creative teams.
Definitely. Third, code assistants. GitHub Copilot, Amazon Code Whisperer. These help developers write code faster, find bugs, complete lines, really speeding up development.
Okay.
And fourth, you're seeing more audio and video generators. Platforms like 11 Labs for realistic voiceovers or Runway ML that can generate video clips from text. The key thing to remember is even though the outputs are different, text, image, code, sound, they're mostly built on that same foundation.
Yeah.
They have pattern recognition generation engine just trained on different stuff.
That's a really helpful breakdown, a powerful set of tools emerging. But with that power comes, big questions. And lots of misunderstandings too, I think. So let's switch gears a bit. Let's bust some common myths that might be holding you back from using these tools well. First big one. Does AI actually think like a person?
Yeah, that's a big one, fueled by decades of sci-fi. But no, current AI doesn't have consciousness. It doesn't have emotions or beliefs or desires. It's a tool, a very sophisticated algorithm, yes, but still a tool. It processes data, follows instructions. It's not getting offended. It's not planning anything sinister.
Okay, clear enough.
Yeah.
Now, the really big one for a lot of people, is it going to take my job? That fear is definitely out there.
It is. And it's a valid concern to have, so let's tackle it head on. AI is really good at automating certain tasks, especially repetitive ones, data-heavy ones. But, and this is crucial, it lacks the things that make professionals truly valuable. Creativity, nuance, judgment, critical thinking, empathy, that deep human connection. So the way to think about it isn't so much, will AI replace me, but how will AI change how I work? It's shifting the value towards those uniquely human skills. Tasks that are repetitive, yeah, those might get automated. But skills like complex problem solving, ethical reasoning, strategic thinking, those become even more valuable. Someone put it well. AI won't replace professionals, but professionals who use AI effectively will replace those who don't. It's about integration, leverage.
That's a really important distinction. Augmentation, not just replacement. Shifting the skill set. Okay, and going back to those hallucinations, it's not deliberately trying to mislead us then.
No, not at all. There's no intent behind it. It doesn't know anything in the way humans know things, like holding verified facts. It's generating content based on statistical likelihoods. What patterns suggest should come next? Sometimes those patterns lead to plausible sounding, but totally wrong statements.
So managing expectations is key here. To really get the most out of AI, we need to be realistic. What does it genuinely do well, and where does it, well, fall short?
Good way to frame it. AI really excels at a few things. Processing and summarizing huge amounts of information, like incredibly quickly, generating first drafts, emails, reports, code, creative ideas, getting you started. Handling repetitive, template-based tasks, it's great for that. And also offering different angles, brainstorming ideas you might not have thought of.
Okay, so speed, scale, drafting, repetition. What about the struggles?
The flip side is factual accuracy is a big one. You always need human verification for anything important. It struggles with nuance, understanding subtle context, sarcasm, implied meaning. That's hard for it, making ethical judgments. Moral reasoning is, well, beyond its current capabilities. Emotional intelligence, empathy obviously not there. And truly original, out-of-the-box thinking. It's great at combining patterns it's seen, but genuine, groundbreaking originality is still a human domain.
That paints a much clearer picture. Strengths and weaknesses, which leads right back to what you were saying about collaboration, doesn't it? It's about working with the AI, not just fearing it.
Exactly. That collaboration mindset is absolutely key. Think of AI as a powerful partner, something that amplifies your skills rather than something that replaces you. I like the analogy of having a super eager, incredibly fast intern. They've read everything, they have boundless energy for drafting and research, but their judgment might be questionable sometimes. They might misunderstand the nuance or get facts wrong. So they need guidance, your expertise, your critical thinking, your strategic direction that remains essential. You're guiding the tool.
The eager intern model. I like that. Okay, so for someone listening who's ready to maybe dip their toes in, integrate AI into their workflow, what's a simple way to start?
First step is just choosing a tool that fits what you want to try. For general text stuff, ChatGPT, Claude, Google Bard, they all have free versions that are really capable. Good starting point. If you're curious about images, DALL-E or Midjourney often give you some free credits to play around with.
And what kind of tasks should they start with? Keep it simple.
Definitely. Start with low-stakes tasks. Things where if the output isn't perfect, it's no big deal. Maybe brainstorming some initial ideas for a presentation, or drafting a first version of an email that you'll definitely edit carefully before sending, summarizing a long article just to get the main points quickly, or maybe creating a simple graphic for an internal presentation, nothing client-facing yet. The idea is just to get comfortable, build some familiarity, see what it can do without any real pressure.
And this brings us to something really important, especially when you're starting out that verification habit. You mentioned accuracy issues.
Yes, this is absolutely critical. Non-negotiable, really. Always fact-check important information that comes from an AI. Never just copy-paste something critical without reviewing it carefully, especially if it's going outside your own notes or if decisions depend on it. Treat the output with a critical eye. Keep that human judgment firmly in the loop for anything that needs to be accurate, nuanced, or ethically sound.
Makes sense. Always be the final check. Okay, any quick tips, maybe some obvious ones, some less obvious for getting better results when you are using these tools?
Sure. Obvious ones first. Always review the output before you share it or use it. Sounds basic, but easy to forget when it looks good. Be specific with your prompts. Vague requests lead to vague, often unhelpful results. The more detail you give, the better. And save prompts that work well. If you craft a really good request that gets you great results, keep it somewhere. You can reuse or adapt it later.
Okay, those are solid basics. What about some less obvious tricks?
Okay. Try running the same request through different AI tools.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, Claude, Bard, they give surprisingly different answers, sometimes due to their training. Compare the results. Use AI to generate multiple options. Don't just take the first thing it gives you. Ask for 3 versions, 5 ideas, 10 headlines. Then use your human judgment to pick the best or combine elements.
Using it for breadth. I like that.
Yeah. Another one, if the AI gives you wrong info, don't just ignore it. Try correcting it in your next prompt within the same conversation. Sometimes you can guide it towards better accuracy for that specific chat. And finally, a really useful one for complex tasks. Ask the AI to think step by step.
Think step by step. How does that work? Can you give an example?
Sure. Let's say you just ask, write me a marketing plan. You'll probably get something pretty generic, right? High-level stuff. But if you prompt it like this, okay, let's build a marketing plan. First, identify my target audience for product and their key pain points. Second, brainstorm 3 unique selling points based on those pain points. Third, outline a 4-week social media campaign for Instagram and LinkedIn focusing on those selling points. Think step by step through each week's theme, content type, and call to action.
Ah, I see. You're structuring its process.
Exactly. You're breaking down the complex task into logical steps for the AI. You'll almost always get a much more structured, detailed, and frankly useful response that way. It forces a more logical flow in the generation.
That's a fantastic practical tip. Okay, so wrapping things up here, what does this all mean for you, the listener? You've hopefully taken a big step today towards becoming more AI savvy, understanding what this generative AI stuff really is, and maybe just as importantly, what it isn't.
Yeah, putting it all together, the key takeaway is this. Generative AI is an incredibly powerful tool, but it is still fundamentally just a tool. It doesn't replace your expertise, your judgment, your creativity. Those human elements become even more critical. Instead, it amplifies those qualities. It handles the routine stuff, generates options quickly, processes information at a scale we couldn't before, freeing you up for higher level thinking.
Which really positions you well for what's coming, for this future where AI is increasingly integrated into how we work. So here's something for you to think about as you go about your day. Now that you understand AI's strengths, its limitations, how might that transform the way you approach problems? How might it change how you collaborate in your own work?
Indeed. Think about how you can start applying that collaborative mindset, maybe even today. Start small. Experiment.
And on that note, in our next deep dive, we'll take the logical next step. We'll dive into the art of talking to AI, prompting how to communicate effectively to get the useful, reliable results you actually want. That's your gateway to making AI consistently work for you.